So today we're going to talk about how do you know if you're actually making the right decision. So we're going to be talking about how to make decisions that feel good and don't drain your energy, understanding how you're designed to make decisions, and how you can apply the tool of human design for decision making in your relationships, your business, and your overall well-being.
So the first thing we want to start out by saying is there's a lot of pressure on us in society to make the right choice, right? And I'm sure that some of you can relate to that. So this pressure, this feeling of pressure to make the right decision, to make the right choice, to know exactly what you want, know where you're going in life, this can sometimes lead to us reacting impulsively rather than responding, okay? Or this pressure can lead us to a sense of analysis paralysis or a feeling of indecisiveness, right? Where you just come to a complete standstill and you have no idea what to choose, which direction to go. So both of these options, both of these ways of being are emotionally draining, right? So what we want to invite you to do in this session and actually in the coming weeks, is we want to invite you to contemplate a slightly different approach. So here's something for you to think about. What if the feeling of indecisiveness is actually a signal to pause and wait for clarity before you make your next move? What if procrastination isn't actually such a bad thing, that society's told you, oh, it's a bad thing to procrastinate? What if it's actually a natural part of the overall decision-making process? So we want to encourage you to let go of just some of the conditions around how you've been taught to make decisions in your life. And instead tune in to a different and more aligned way of knowing what it is that you do and do not want in your life. So Morgan's going to tell us a little bit more about that in terms of how to figure out what you really want.
Okay, yeah. So how do you know what you want? Or more importantly, how do you know what you really, 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 truly want deep down? So the first step to take is to let go of any shoulds or any ought tos. And especially letting go of bargaining tactics. Any bargaining tactics that you make with yourself and with others. I know shoulds are a big thing for many people. Like they feel they should do this or they should do that, or they feel guilted into doing something. So if we could ask you to take a moment to be still and to go inward and really feel in your body or in your energy field what it is, what feels lighter, brighter, or something like what even feels more expansive. That's the energy, the feeling that you're looking for, is that lightness. So when you do something like this, there may be some things that come up that might trip you up a little bit. And that is part of the worthiness piece. So just allow yourself to remember that it is your birthright. You were born worthy, and you are worthy of these things that make you feel light and bright and more expansive.
Yeah. Thank you, Morgan. That's so beautiful. And it's such a great reminder to return to the body and what feels good in the body. Thank you for that reminder. So in alignment with that, we want to introduce you to the tool of human design as a decision-making tool. Okay. So human design has really been helpful for both of us in our lives in terms of understanding how we are actually designed to make decisions, rather than working with the old paradigm of conditioning that we were talking about, but actually working with what feels right and how we are energetically designed to make decisions in a way that feels correct for us. Okay, so we want to share this with you. And the tool that we want to reference today is we want to talk about human design strategy and authority. So let's get into it. These are the details. So there are 5 different types within human design, within the system, each with a strategy for making decisions. Okay, so these 5 types are generators, manifesting generators, projectors, manifestors, and reflectors. So each type has what we call a strategy. And that can be described as a way that we're designed to interact with each other and with the world around us with the least resistance, so that we're able to live out our lives with satisfaction, with success, with peace and fulfillment. Okay. So when we talk about navigating decision-making, strategy and authority are the 2 main tools in human design that we're going to be referencing today. So these are rooted in the body's natural awareness. So like we were doing just now with Morgan, with that brief meditation, tuning into the conscious awareness of what feels good in the body. So when we talk about human design strategy, we're also talking about a doorway to letting go of what you're not and living life in sync with your natural energy. So let's look at each type and how you are designed to make decisions using your human design strategy. Okay, so let's start with generators. Generators are designed to wait for things to come to you in your outer reality before taking action, as opposed to initiating. So this can feel very counterintuitive at first, right? Especially in a society that teaches us from a very young age to start before you're ready, just do it, all those kind of things that I'm sure you've all heard. Generators and manifesting generators have what we call a defined sacral energy center that lets you know if you are available to give your energy to something or not. Now, notice how this strategy is all about responding to life from the sacral area of the body. So like trusting your gut, it's in the belly, right? It's got nothing to do with the mind. So when generators initiate from the mind, they do not have anything to respond to. So often come up against resistance. So this resistance leads to feelings of frustration and even feelings of exhaustion in the body. Okay. So let's get into manifesting generators. So manifesting generators are also designed to respond to life through the sacral center before initiating action. Manifesting generators are designed to move very quickly after responding, unless, here's the caveat, you have an emotional authority, which Morgan is going to talk us through in a moment. So along with a defined sacral center, manifesting generators also have a direct connection between one of the 4 motor centers to the throat. So as such, they have 2 more strategies in addition to simply responding. And those are visualize, so to imagine the outcome, and then inform. That means simply let people know what you're going to do before you do it. And I promise you, as a manifesting generator, that is a game changer. Let people know. Let them know. Okay, so let's talk about projectors. The projector strategy is to wait for recognition and for the invitation. When invited and recognized, that means when you as a projector feel appreciated and seen, recognized for the gifts that you have to offer, projectors are here to be our most gifted guides. Okay, here's a note about invitation. It can be a formal invitation, it can be informal, or it can also be implied. It's wise for our projectors to be discerning about who you engage your energy with. If you're focusing on the wrong people that are not recognizing you and don't appreciate you for what you really have to offer, this can lead to feelings of exhaustion and bitterness. Okay, so let's talk about our manifestors. Manifestor strategy is to inform those around you of your decisions before you take action. So letting people know what you're going to do before you do it. Manifestors, when you share with others in this way, this naturally relaxes those around you and removes energetic resistance, allowing you to initiate in peace. What a pleasure. When you move through life without informing others, so just going with that initiating quality and not telling anybody about what you're going to be doing, this can often meet up with a lot of resistance, okay, which can lead to feelings of anger for you as a result. And then lastly, let's talk about our reflectors. So the way in which reflectors process experience is very different from the other types. Reflectors make up about 1% of the population, okay? And the strategy for the reflector is to wait a full lunar cycle before making big decisions in your life. So to wait a full 28-day lunar cycle before making the really big decisions in your life. And reflectors also find it helpful to talk to others and to listen objectively to feedback during their 28-day process of making decisions. Okay, so that's a very brief introduction into the strategy, human design strategy and decision making for the 5 types within the human design system. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm a manifesting generator. My strategy is to respond because I have a defined sacral center, to wait for life, to respond to what life is bringing me. But also part of my strategy is then to visualize, so to try it on for size, to imagine or envision what the outcome will be, and then to tell other people what I'm going to do before I actually do it. So I can give you a practical example. I've been working for myself now for a couple of years. When I first started working for myself, I did not know anything about human design. And as a new entrepreneur, I went with all of the teachings to, you know, go out there, make it happen, start before you're ready, et cetera, et cetera. And that was incorrect for my energy type, because what I found that I would do more often than not is I would get a spark of mental inspiration that would come through, you know, my own mind. And I would go, oh, I need to act on that. That's a good idea. I'm going to create a whole course, even though nobody's asked me for it. So I had a lot of experience in the beginning of creating work and products and courses, etc., just simply on my own mental inspiration. And then when it came to launch time, it was like tumbleweed and very, very disappointing and very frustrating. So when I learned about human design and I had that aha moment of actually, I've been interacting with the world in a way that is incorrect for my energy. I'm here to respond to things. And I just made that subtle energetic shift. That was a huge breakthrough for me. And also it allowed me to respond to the opportunities that were naturally coming my way and to respond to them with sustainable energy. So that's the real key. Okay, so that's my story.
Yeah, that was great. I very much relate to that as a generator. And I love the visual of the tumbleweed. It definitely, definitely tells the story. So yes, I can definitely relate to that. And it's been huge to learn that and how to respond to life instead of going out and pushing and initiating things, which are more for manifestors to do. So yeah, so I'm going to speak a little bit more about the different authorities in human design. And as Lucy mentioned, she mentioned the emotional authority. And so I'll start with the emotional authority. I also have emotional authority, and that's definitely also been a game changer as to it just helps me making better decisions for myself and in my life. So the emotional authority is from the solar plexus center. So it's all about needing to feel it out before acting on a decision. So the emotional authority operates in waves, and the waves are always kind of rolling. So depending on, I mean, to get technical, depending on which gates or channels you have coming out of that solar plexus center, that would give you an indication of how the wave rolls and what type of movement that makes. But basically it's designed for you to pick up information over time if you have this emotional authority. So it's really great to take time to sleep on something, like to sleep, sorry, not sleep on something, but to sleep on it. You know, give yourself at least 24 hours before you make a decision. And you don't really want to make a decision when you're in the middle of your emotional wave, because you're feeling all the different emotions, and it's to me, it doesn't feel like a really grounded space. So it's better when you come to more of a neutral or grounded space, and there's not those sort of spikes and extreme of emotions. And yeah, then you have more clarity. You may not get 100% clarity all the time, but you'll feel more of in one direction than say the other. That's how I find it for me. We also have the Sacral Authority for pure generators, and that comes out of the sacral center, and it's all about responding, as Lucy had explained. So about waiting for that response. So you're waiting for something or someone to show up in your energy field so you can respond to it. So as generators, we're responding all the time to things. So this, you really got to pay attention to your gut response on this. So you don't need to chase things. As Lucy was mentioning, it's not about going out there and getting something and hustle, hustle, hustle. So also too, your response can show up as a spontaneous sound, or even your body moving towards something. That can be a response as well. So then we have the Splenic Authority, and this is very subtle. It's coming out of the spleen center, and it is an intuitive sense or recognition in the moment. So it's very much an intuitive knowing. The intuition is part of the spleen center. So yeah, it's very subtle, and you might feel an instant deep recognition that a certain type of action is definitely meant for you. So, or it'll be like, it's definitely not meant for you, or it's not safe, because the spleen, it's also instincts as well in that the spleen center. So it takes some, for some, it takes a little while to tune back into that and to allow that subtle or instant response to show up, to hear it or to feel it, or to hear it or recognize it. Yes, so then we have the ego authority, coming from the ego or the heart center, the will center. So it's all about your motivation. So your motivation kind of decides for you. So trust what you say or do spontaneously in the moment. So whereas emotional authorities are not designed to be spontaneous really at all, the ego authority is designed to be spontaneous and in the moment. So the voice of the ego will speak or move in the body if you allow it to do so. So it's also, you can let words come out unfiltered. So it's just in that moment, that flow. There's also the G center authority, or identity authority, also called, and can also be called self-projected. So this is where your heart decides. So the ability to listen and hear your voice is key. So the truth is expressed through your truth is expressed through your core of your identity. So it's all about, the G center is the center for love, and it's all about unconditional love. So it's not like the solar plexus or the emotional authority, where it's very much feelings and emotions like passion and anger and all those things. It's very unconditional love, and it's the identity, the seat of the soul. So then we also have, those were all inner authorities, and we also have authority that we also have authorities that are not inner, they're outer authorities. So we have the mental projector. So if you're a mental projector, it's good to get someone that you can talk to, someone you trust, and someone you feel safe with, because you just need to be able to talk without censoring your words. So you need to be able to hear what comes out of your mouth, and you can use the other person as a sounding board in order to hear your truth or the not truth that's coming through your voice. And then reflectors have no inner authority, but they can rely on the cycle of the moon. So waiting that whole, for big decisions, waiting that 28-day lunar cycle to make a right decision for them. So yeah, it'll provide some consistency for them and a familiar pattern to work with. So yeah. So just for myself, realizing that I have an emotional authority has been very helpful in my life. And because I used to just say yes to so many things, like yes, 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 everything sound exciting in the moment. When I figured out my design, my human design, and that I wasn't supposed to be spontaneous, I was supposed to take that time. It helped, because when I'd previously be making decisions sort of spontaneous and in the moment, what would happen is when the time rolled around that I would have to, say, meet someone for coffee, or go climb a mountain with a friend or something like that. It's when the day actually came, I didn't feel like it, like I'd be somewhere in my emotional wave that just didn't feel like going out or didn't feel like doing these things. Not all the time, but for the majority of the time, it was like I would overcommit to too many things that actually didn't really truly light me up. They were just things I could do, or I could say yes to. So when I took the time to, at least 24 hours to respond, or just take that time to sleep on it, I would have a much clearer idea of if actually I did want to do something like go for coffee or climb a mountain, or if I didn't, and it just seems to work out. As the more I honor that process, the more it works out. So I never rush myself anymore into making decision. If someone else is rushing me, I just say, no, sorry, I need the time. If they don't allow me the time to make the decision, then I know it's not for me. And yeah, it's been working out so far.
Yeah, awesome. Very good.
Yeah. So we'd love to hear from you. Let us know, check out your human design chart. Maybe some of you know your type and the strategy for your type and your authority. But let us know what that is, and how, if you've experienced working with your strategy and authority, how has it changed your decision-making process? Has it helped you? Has it, what kind of insights did you get through experimenting with that? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to chat more about this. Lucy and I love human design. So
yes, we do.
And so before we bring this session to a close, we just have a few questions for you to ponder. So do you ever ask yourself, what should I do with my life? How do I know my life's purpose? How do I find and do work that I love? And how do I figure out what I really want? So Lucy and I will be diving into these topics in our next community class called What Am I Actually Here to Do with My Life? So we'll put the link below for more details if you're interested. And yeah, we hope to hear from you all soon and have a great chat. And we hope this has helped you to, dive into and explore more of your strategy and authority.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.